What's up, everybody? It is Sunday, June 3rd. We're going to break down some baseball, and we're going to do it live. So what's up? I know a small amount of you will be trickling in because obviously this is Sunday, and, people have crap to do on Sundays. But doesn't mean I'm not here. Weird slate today, thanks to FanDuel and their nonsense. We've got 8 games on FanDuel, 9 games on DK. The game that's not included on FanDuel is the Dodgers-Rockies Coors game, so that's kind of weird. It's just, I don't know. I'm excited to play. It's been a really good weekend for me, so I'm ready to keep going. My puppy dogs are walking in here. What's up, Dingo? What's up, Riggs? But I'm just going to go through everything like Jake and I normally do. Going to go game by game. If anybody's here and wants to ask questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. If it's on the specific game, I'll get to it at that point. If it's any more like holistic stuff, I'll do it in the morning. In the morning. I'll do it at the end of the video. So, Dingo, I'd prefer it if you weren't at my feet, buddy. Maybe go lay down on the couch. What do you think of that? Whatever. You boys lay down. Good boy, Riggs. All right, let's do this. Welcome to everybody that's in the chat. Take a look at everything here. Articles are already up on awesomeo.com, so if you want to check those out, I have spotlight hitters, pitchers, and stacks out. Now we'll sort of just be looking at how I got to that point. So, what up, everybody in chat? Daniel, what happened yesterday? Didn't see anything from you guys. Saturday is my technical day off. So, we didn't have any video content. We have Jake's night shift podcast that covered the Saturday slate. Why is this showing up all weird now? That makes sense. Whew. Felt dumb for a second. So, first game up on the slate is Yankees and Orioles. And if you're familiar with these videos and you've been a part of this for a while, you know that red in these columns generally means bad. And that's because I have this game as very unlikely to play. Weather looks super duper duper rough for Baltimore today. Just like constant rain starting now until, I don't know, long after I would expect this game to be over. So I'm not expecting this game to play, hence the crap ratings. I don't get to anybody in this game after my crunches, which is kind of a shame because I did really like Domingo Germán for the Yankees today. 4.2 run implied total for the Orioles would have been nice. They're not the best hitting team in the world. Germán was popping up quite a bit for me on my first crunch before I did any further digging. So right now I've kind of just wiped the Yankees and Orioles from the slate. If for some reason, I don't know, weather just miraculously changes, Germán and the Yankees stack are both very viable. But for now, I think it's impossible to really look at anything in that direction. Let me just move this tab over here. Perfect. So that's where I'm at there for Yankees Orioles. It's really hard to go that direction. We'll move on to Blue Jays and Cubs. Blue Jays 4.3 run implied total. Tigers 4.5. It's a 53% chance to win for the Tigers. Aaron Sanchez going for Toronto. Michael Fulmer going for Detroit. This one's a weird one for me. I get a little bit of scattered bats. It's not the best. I don't know. I get a lot of Michael Fulmer, and I'm a little surprised by that. He's showing up with quite a bit of ownership on DraftKings. I'm anxious to see our rankings and our projected ownership. 19% for Fulmer seems pretty high. Unless I'm crazy, I'll probably bring that down in the 11 or 12 range. But I like him. He looks good. 4.16 projected FIP from Steamer is nice. Blue Jays only a 4.3 run implied total, also nice. Nothing really else to worry about. These guys are going to be more of a one-off scenario than anything else. The Blue Jays are just so cheap. I mean, Granderson at 2,700 leading off. Solarte at 3,200 for a shortstop on FanDuel looks good. Russell Martin even at minimum salary, even though he's a catcher, like, is in play on FanDuel. Hold on, I'm about to yell at my dogs. My boxer is currently laying on top of our pug. Yeah, I said boxer. Now he's looking at me like, I know what that is, Dad. God, I gotta stop talking to my dogs like they're human beings. Alright, I'm throwing them out. Give me a second. Out, boys. Come on. You had your chance. You had your chance. Go. Let's go. Out. You too. Sorry. Let's go. Come on. Just go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You ruined it. Go play somewhere else. Don't fall down the steps. Crazy dogs. Ooh. Tom, thanks for shouting out the ownership. Appreciate that. Let's plug that in now and we'll take a look. For those that don't know, Tom is another one of the head honchos at Awesemo.com, so shout out, Tom. I'm going to pull up all of this ownership projection stuff. Then I'll feel really confident in what I'm talking about. Ooh, there's the big John Lester ownership that I was kind of hoping for. I don't know. Would have felt a lot weirder if it was like super low. Alrighty, there we go. Alright, so all of that looks pretty reasonable. No reason to suspect things are weird. I'm right on Michael Fulmer. Very, very happy there. Same for Steven Matz. Okay, good. I feel good about my morning now. It's really good. So yeah, Blue Jays for me, it's going to be a bunch of one-off stuff. So Granderson, Solarte, Russell Martin. I'm not getting to them too much on DK. The Blue Jays are just sort of like the guys that make things work. The pricing is crazy. 2,000, 2,400, 2,200, 2,000, 2,000. Like, that's just... Getting guys at that price is just fun. Tigers, on the other hand, I'll have a little bit of the first four. So Martin, Castellanos, Cabrera, and Vmart. That's basically the extent of it. I don't really like the rest of the team. This one's basically all Michael Fulmer for me. I won't be on the Blue Jays or the Tigers all that much. Are we projecting any serious ownership for the Jays? Not really, but they're there. And then nothing really on DK. So, good to know. Yeah, I like Michael Fulmer. I think he's a really nice SP2 option, although so does everybody else, evidently. Gone away. Nice placing in the quarter entry yesterday. Thank you. Thank you. Starting to gain some confidence in my model. It's been a good June, even though it's only June 3rd. Cubs and Mets. This one will have some interesting stuff to talk about. Cubs 4.1 run implied total. Mets 3.5. It's a 58% chance to win for the Cubbies. John Lester going for Chicago. Steven Matz going for the Mets. If you've already been on the website and read my Spotlight Pitchers article, you will know that I like Lester and Matz. And judging by the projected ownership, Lester relatively high, Matz same sort of scenario on FanDuel, has some decent ownership. They both have really solid ownership on DK. Lester projecting to be the chalk pitcher. Doesn't surprise me at all. 3.5 run implied total for the Mets. And I'm repeating myself here if you read the article, but 3.5 run implied total for the Mets. Just an absolutely atrocious stat line versus lefty pitching this year. A 310 slugging is, that's hapless. That is, what's the next lowest one on the slate today? 367 for the Royals is the second lowest slugging percentage on the year for against a particular hand. The Mets are blowing that out of the water. A sub 100 ISO, it's like watching the pitcher hit, but 9 times instead of once. The weighted runs created plus of 70 is just putrid. So I really like Lester here. Wind is blowing in pretty heavily from right center. So, Lester will be the chalk pitcher. I'll end up probably slightly under the field on Lester. He'll come in. My ownership cap will be a little bit lower than that. But he looks great. And then Matz as a number 2 option I think is feasible. It's just a little scary. The Cubs bats are legit. Guys like Baez, Bryant, Wilson Contreras, Happ, Russell. Rizzo's great, but he's got the platoon disadvantage. Weighted runs created plus against lefties for the Cubs of 110. That's big time. 181 ISO, a little scary. 441 slugging, a little scary. They don't strike out all that much. But the 4.1 run implied total is what I'm paying attention to. I think the wind blowing in is going to impact this game a little bit more than one would generally expect. So I'm going to use a lot of Mats. I don't think that I'm going to be in the minority there. I like both of these guys. I'll probably have more Mats on FanDuel than I do the field, which is fine by me. I think he grades out really nicely. He could be priced, $2,000 more, and I'd probably be okay. But he strikes me as slightly risky just because of how good the Cubs lineup is in general. I'll still have him. This game is all pitching for me. I do get a little bit of Cubs bats, Baez and Bryant in particular. Bryant, 4,500 on FanDuel. That's a really nice price for a one-off third baseman option, which I will probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 8% of. So I like that. Same for Baez. I like getting guys, top of the order, second base, third base, shortstop, premium positions. It's always a good spot for a one-off guy. So not really stacking anything up here. This is mostly just pitching. So go John Lester, I guess. Go Steven Matz. Next up, we've got Nats and Braves. Nats, 4.6 run implied total. Braves, 4.6 run implied total. It's a 50-50 game, which is kind of exciting. Go Braves. We need this. Jeremy Hellickson going for Washington. Anibal Sanchez going for Atlanta. I need to look at this because I'm getting a lot of Anibal Sanchez. Yeah, he's relatively popular on both sites. Well, DK in particular. Whew. I will knock his ownership back from 14 and 28 here. I don't want to end up rolling in with 28% Anibal Sanchez, but like 23, 24 will make me kind of happy. Thanks to Tom for giving a little bit of an answer to that. How do we come up with ownership projections? That's helpful for me because I really didn't have an answer to that question. I could have thrown out a couple guesses, but I didn't know. So ignore Jeremy Hellickson first and foremost. I like Anibal Sanchez because of his price. I won't have near that amount of exposure. And what I'm really looking at in this game is bats. So in games where I don't have Anibal Sanchez, I'm almost assuredly going to have Nats bats. Vice versa for the other side, but I won't have any Hellickson. Nats bats look exceptional. They would have been like neck and neck with the Yankees if there wasn't any weather in Baltimore, but for now, Turner, Harper, Rendon, and Soto are guys that I'm just smashing, and I've been hitting these guys up pretty hard over the past 10 days or so. Just had good matchups. Adams is not as popular for me on FanDuel, but he has gone up a little bit in some of my tweaks this morning. I'm going to have these 5 guys in abundance. Soto, I can't believe he's still only 3,000 on FanDuel. He's got the pedigree. I know that he's young, but he's got the hitting pedigree, and he's been crushing the ball. I mean, his slash line so far in the season is, like, huge. I had it up before. Let me pull it up again. There we go. So he's hitting 350 in his first, 49 plate appearances, but 350, 430, 560 slash line, 418 WOBA. Like, the dude is just mashing so far. Taking a nice liking to the majors as a 19-year-old kid. And when I was 19, a lot of different things were happening, but it wasn't being a stud hitter in baseball. So for me, I want a ton of Nats. I'll work Severino in on DraftKings because he's a catcher. He's not like a one-off guy for me. I want him as part of a stack. But those first 5 guys couldn't look much better. I am a little excited to get some Braves. I don't have them as hitters all that often. So in FanDuel in particular, they look great. They are my 3rd highest owned stack. They're 5th on DK. So Inciarte, Albies, Freddie Freeman, Preston Tucker, 2100 on FanDuel is a guy that I'll end up having quite a bit of. I'll dial that back a lot. I mean, we're projecting him at 7, so I'll probably only have like 15 or so. Similar scenario for Inciarte. I'll probably back him down a little bit, but Brave stacks look really nice. They'll be like 3rd or 4th for me for the day. Not a lot of love for Jeremy Hellickson. He's crappy. I don't know. 6.6K per 9 projected from Steamer. 4.8 FIP. No, thank you. Freeman, Inciarte, and then Kurt Suzuki are like the 3 guys that I would have in abundance on either site. They look a little bit better on FanDuel than DK, but I think you can get to workable stuff for the Braves on DraftKings. Mike M, don't forget to crunch, big guy. I already got 2 in the bag. FanDuel and DraftKings are both up. When I talk about my personal ownership percentages, so that's everything you'll see in column Y or column AD. That's just the results of my crunch. So while you're not seeing the specific lineup, you're getting the information from those crunches in the aggregate. Z Cisco, 6:30 on a Sunday, or 9:30. Either way. I've been up since 6:30 my time. Got myself a nice fresh shower. I'm feeling good. Got some coffee. I'm just jamming down my gullet to make myself awake. Updated all of this stuff. Smiled at my results from yesterday and the day before. And then pumped out 2 articles and came on to talk to you clowns. It's perfect. And 94 people on the YouTube stream. I love it. Sunday mornings, people. This is DFS Church. Ooh, I think I might be renaming the Sunday morning show to DFS Church. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Tom, can we get a graphic made of like Alex's face in some sort of religious pose for DFS Church? I think that would be a good idea. I don't actually think that would be a good idea. People will lose their minds, but it sounds funny to talk about. We'll go to the next game because I love the Brewers. Brewers, 5.3 run implied total. White Sox, 4.2. It's a 60% chance to win for the Brewers. Brent Suter going for Milwaukee. Dylan Covey going for Chicago. I'm going to get like a decent amount of Brent Suter, and I don't ever really like that, but there's not a lot to play today. So I have decent amounts of... I'll be decently over the field on Suter if our ownership projections hold. Doesn't miss a ton of bats. But, 4.5 FIP. It's just that the White Sox are so bad. They have, outside of Jose Abreu, I mean, like, if Moncada's hitting 6, like projected, Not good, but he does not hit lefties well. I mean, most of these guys, Yolmer Sanchez, really bad against lefties. Palka, really bad against lefties. Moncada, really bad against lefties. The only guy that I'm worried about is Abreu, and I think that he'd look pretty decent as a one-off. What are we projecting his ownership for on FanDuel? Yeah, I figured as much. He's a nice one-off option. What I want in this game is the Brewers. They are fantastic. Number one stack on FanDuel, thanks to FanDuel not including the Dodgers. And then the Brewers are my number 2 stack on DK. I don't see any of that really changing. The Nats could catch them just based on crunches and stuff and randomization, but the Brewers will be popular. Probably the second most chalky stack on DK, probably the most chalky stack on FanDuel, but that's why you rotate guys in and out. And I've talked about this before, but just to give, we'll talk about it later. Chalk on a day where chalk is 25% doesn't necessarily slow me down. It's a lot different than chalk in the NBA or pitching chalk, where you can get a guy in the 50s and 60s. But chalky stacks that are 25% owned, it's on DK, let's say you had 2 stacks and all the guys were 25% owned. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would be 1 divided by, if you just look at the hitting portion of it, and everybody was 25% owned, you're looking at a 1 in 65,000 stack of 8 guys. Most people aren't going to have that. Now, there's some correlations with price and all, but even if you just drop one of those 25% guys, so if you're okay, I don't want to have a 25% guy, I'm going to take Orlando Arcia, and he's only projected to be 5% owned. If you do that, it's up to a 1 in 325,000 lineup. You're good. You've already differentiated yourself as much as you need to. It's not as big of a problem in baseball. Anyway, back to the Brewers. I'm going to have the whole lineup. Just depends on which site. So first 7 guys, if they hold up right here. And if they don't and this rotates around, it's not going to change all that much. So Kane, Yelich, Aguiar, Shaw, Braun, Choi, VR. I'm getting them a lot. Kane, Yelich, and Braun are going to hit my maxes almost assuredly on both sites. I'll have a little bit less on DK. Manny Pena will be a catcher option that is in part of my stacks on DraftKings. He's not a guy that's going to show up all that much on FanDuel because he's not that good and he's a catcher. Orlando Arcia, I'll get a little bit more on FanDuel compared to DK. 2,100 for a shortstop as part of a stack. I like that quite a bit. But I'm just going to end up with a ton of Brewers. It'll be a lot of combinations of these guys, as many as I can really get, and I'm happy with that. Other than Abreu, I won't really touch the White Sox, but feel free to have as much Brewers as you want tonight. I like it quite a bit. Drinking out of a vase, nice. You think this was a vase, or did I miss something here? This is just a gigantic coffee mug. I want to make sure it doesn't spill on me. I don't remember how many ounces it is. I think it's 24. I drink way too much coffee. I'll have 40 ounces by noon today. I'm going to feel like I could run straight through my house. I personally think, Marcos, I personally think playing cash on FanDuel is a gold mine if you play your cards right. Honestly, I haven't even been looking into it. I've been so worried about tracking my results in GPPs and making sure I'm getting solid outputs that I haven't really explored much about any cash lines right now. I'm just trying to make sure I'm putting out a good product first before I start expanding into adding more cash games into my lineup or into my lines. Brad Glatz, do most of you play FanDuel and DK? I bounce between the two of them. I mean, I play them both generally every day. For basketball, I played almost exclusively on FanDuel. I'm a relic of a previous time where FanDuel was not late swap and DK was. So when I was playing, basketball's like my sport. So when I was playing heavily for basketball, I was playing predominantly on FanDuel because of the lack of late swap. I didn't want a late swap. I didn't care if one of my guys got scratched because I would have just as much luck of getting that the opposite way. And when lineups locked at 7 o'clock, I needed to go like hang out with the wife and do stuff. I didn't want to be a prisoner to my computer until 10:15. So I just got really used to playing at FanDuel. Now that my lifestyle is a little bit different, I play at both. Now that late swap is like a completely different scenario than what it was, say, 18 months ago. The whole industry is different now. So I play on both. Our staff mostly plays, Tom and Alex, they play on both. Jake is essentially just DraftKings, and Chris is just DraftKings, but they'll be opening it up. We're going to get Jake into FanDuel soon, too. But Jake's like our resident DK guy. Doc Winters, White Sox pitcher isn't good enough to start. Not in my realm, he's not. I have him as basically the worst pitching option on the slate if we don't include the Yankees and Orioles. The Yankees and Herman and Cobb get half of their projections because of weather issues. So, yeah, I'm not a big Covey guy. Brewers with a 5.3 run implied total. I can't imagine any scenario where you would be taking Dylan Covey. He doesn't really project all that well. I've got him projected for 4 strikeouts in 5 innings. I don't see it here. Sub 10 projection is about as bad as it's going to get for a guy. If you want to have him in a line out of 150, go for it. But otherwise, I don't see it. Blue Jays lineup is up. Let's take a look. What do I have in? What up, Beto? Granderson. Oh, Solarte up. Pilar down. It's scattered, but it's essentially the same. So let's go ahead and get that updated. Not going to really change anything for me here. I'll have some Granderson and Solarte one-offs on FanDuel just because of their spot in the order, but I won't be wild on the Blue Jays. They're almost too cheap. They're hard to get to without giving up a ton of salary. So if there was like a Scherzer or something on the FanDuel slate and he was priced at like $12,000, I think the Blue Jays would be a little bit more in play. But it's hard to stack up the Blue Jays and then still spend all your salary. You basically have to use Clevenger plus, I don't know, the Dodgers or the Yankees are the team that's going to have expensive bats but not be really a part of this early slate. So that's where I'm at there. Do I have anything else I want to touch on in this Brewers game? I don't think so. Just play a bunch of Brewers. I love them. Foxhole Atheist. Can we play on FanDuel in Texas yet? You would have to check that out. Best I could do is tell you that I can play that in North Carolina. I don't have a concept of state legalities right now. Tim Lorzing, you talk a lot about having an ownership cap. How do you know where to stop your max ownership on a player? Will you go double on a guy you like based on the field, etc.? I generally am in sort of like the 20 to 35% cap range, depending on how big the slate is or how small the slate is. And then if you look at our ownership projections, you'll rarely, today would be a good example where let me just hop over to it quick. So on FanDuel, Lester's high is 27. On DK, we're in the mid 20s. Lester at 39. So I basically throw out the outliers and try to be somewhere around those top guys if I wanted to add 70 to 80% of that ownership. So today I have a cap of 28% on FanDuel for bats, 26 on DK because there's an extra game, 30 for FanDuel pitching, and then 28 for DK pitching. And that generally gets me to where I want to be and spreads out everything. I don't know if there's like a right. Well, there's definitely not a right or wrong answer to it, but that's generally the area I want to be on for baseball. I going twice the field on someone is about the cap that I would do for anybody that's owned with anything substantial. If it's a guy we're projecting at like 1 or 2%, I probably won't be higher than like 10% on something like that. How much money you're going to leave on the table if I had to guess? Like sometimes I'll leave like up to 1,500 when I'm playing a full slate. I think like under 1,000 or under is where I'm like usually comfortable. But if I'm playing a ton of lines, there are going to be some lines where I leave a lot more salary on the table. Your crunch, DJ Dog. My crunch is giving me a lot of Sanchez at pitcher. What are your thoughts? I don't agree. He is not a guy for me. We have him projected relatively low owned, and I don't project him at all. Brad Glatz, you need a new cruncher. I don't know what that means. All right, let's look at Indians and Twins. Indians, 4.7 run implied total. Twins, 4.3. It's a 54% chance to win for the Indians. Mike Clevenger going for Cleveland. Kyle Gibson going for Minnesota. I don't normally get to Gibson. It's more of a Jake play, considering he's a member of the Minnesota Jakes. Let's see. Are we projecting him at all? No. So I feel fine there. I like Clevenger here, but it's weird. We're not projecting all that much ownership, so I think he makes for a decent case of like paying up to be contrarian. Twins haven't been great against right-handed pitching. No Mauer is going to make that even more difficult, since obviously as a lefty hitter, he'll do significantly better against righties. So yeah, I'm going to have quite a bit of Clevenger. I expect to be over the field on him. That's where my lesser ownership will go. So I'll be under the field a little bit on Lester. I still love him. I'll still have a ton of him. But I'll transition some of that to Clevenger, and I think that'll help me quite a bit. As far as Indians bats, I would have expected a little bit more. I'm actually getting both teams a little bit from a stack perspective. So in situations where I don't have Clevenger, I think I'll have a little bit more Twins. So right now, Lindor on both sites as a one-off shortstop looks like probably one of the better options of the day. I assume we're projecting some... it looks like I'll probably be doubled up on him. But I like Lindor. I like Michael Brantley a little bit as a one-off outfielder on DK, just because of his spot in the lineup, lefty-righty matchup. Gibson's hittable in my opinion. And then on the Twins side, similar deal. Dozier is chalky constantly. I'll have some Dozier. I'll have a little bit of Eddie Rosario. I really like Sano as a third base one-off on FanDuel. I'm probably way high there. Yeah, I might knock that down a couple percentage points, but I'll have a little bit of the top part of the Indians and Twins orders. It's just they're good for like a scattered amount. I don't know what I'm saying. I only like the first four guys, really. So it's Lindor, a little bit of Brantley on DK, Dozier, Rosario, and Sano. That's it. Can you talk about NBA Finals after baseball? Not from a DFS perspective, but I can talk about the NBA Finals. I can't play that single game stuff. It's too frustrating. But I can say go Cavs, although I think they've blown every chance they have now. Daniel Ensley, what two pitchers are you rolling with to get your higher price stack like Dodgers and Rockies? We'll take a look at the DraftKings crunches at the end, but I would expect to have like Lester plus I bet like Lester and Brent Suter or Michael Fulmer will be popular together with like Rockies and Brewers or Rockies and Nats. I'll get to it pretty easily. What else do we got here? David Wilson, thank you. I appreciate that. It has been a good weekend. There has been a good, I don't know, probably 10-day stretch. D-Ball, is Fantasy Cruncher the best optimizer for MLB DFS? It is for me. Your mileage may vary. I've also been using Fantasy Cruncher for years, so I'm just used to it at this point. I've popped into others from time to time. I'm always trying to check out what else is out there to make sure I'm not missing anything. But Fantasy Cruncher works perfectly for me. It does everything that I need to do, so I do it. That's the one that I use. I'm a big fan of it. Guy with a bunch of letters in your name. Would you ever share this spreadsheet for premium members or make a basic version of this? I'd like to. I would never share this version in particular. I assume everyone can understand why, but I do want to make like a stepped-on version so people can kind of create their own projections. The problem with that is the upkeep. Previously to joining, the Osimo team for work, I did a lot of Excel-based tools for my department, and while they do make life better for everyone else, the tech support of all of it is really what the bear is. And I would never want to put out a product where it wasn't working like 99% of the time for people. So building it so that everyone can use it is the struggle for me. There are things that I do in this sheet that I would never be able to explain to people that don't have any like deeper understanding of Excel. So I do want to make like a more basic version of this so people could at least create their own projections and tweak accordingly. If I had to guess, that would be more for around the start of the NBA season than for baseball, but we'll see. It depends where the year takes us. Do weather and stadiums go into your personal ownership projections? I don't have any personal ownership projections, so I can't totally speak to the site's projections, but I would expect weather for sure is a piece of that. Weather concerns just the Yankees, as far as I'm concerned. I don't expect that game to play. I don't know how much time they have to just sit and wait, but other than that, I don't see any other issues. JM, congrats on the FanDuel lineup. Thank you very much. Let's see. Lorenza, Kyle Gibson is worse at home. Give the Indians a stack of no weather concerns. Like I said, I'll have a little bit of them. I don't have a huge problem with an Indian stack. They're just not one of my priorities today. I'll have a little, like I said, I'll have a little bit of them, but I'm more on a couple other teams. JM, any chance Osimo adds an optimizer to his site? Let's just say maybe for right now. All right, let's move on to the A's. A's and Royals. A's 4.6 run implied total. Royals 4.5. It's a 51% chance to win for the A's. Daniel Gossett going for Oakland. Jake Junis going for Kansas City. I'll have a little bit of both of these guys on DraftKings. Junis is expensive at $9,000. We're not projecting. That might be a name thing. Stupid names, man. Stupid names. Where's Junis over here? Yeah, there it is. So, from what I see, I'm neutral on Junis on DK, so I'm cool with that. I'll have a little bit of Daniel Gossett as a pay down option, so I'll be looking at that as well. But The pitching's fine here. What I really like more than anything are A's bats on FanDuel. Whew. Marcus Semien, going to be hugely owned for me as a shortstop option. Matt Joyce, 2,900. I'll have a ton. Jed Lowry, Chris Davis, these are guys I'm going to be owning in abundance. The A's are my fourth most owned stack right now. There's a gigantic drop off after them, so I will have quite a bit of A's. They're just super cheap, 4.6 run implied total. They've been hitting righties well all year, 40% hard hit rate, 35% is league average. That's pretty healthy. So I'm really liking the A's, and judging here, I'll probably be like double-ish the field on them. So A's will be essential for me today. I don't know if you guys could hear my dogs just running up and down my hallway, just trying to eat each other's faces, but dogs are crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. For the Royals, not a ton here outside of a little bit of Junis on DK. I think Merrifield looks okay. Moose Tacos is okay-ish. I don't really love the pricing. I'll have a little bit. You can see I have 5% on FanDuel, 3% on DK, so he'll work his way in just a little bit. And then Salvador Perez as a one-off catcher option on DK is nice. Joyce was pulled yesterday. Okay, let's take a look. And he is marked as questionable. Matt Joyce. Back tightness. Well, if Joyce isn't in the lineup, I'm not going to have that much Joyce. But I will still own the A's quite a bit. He does make up a lot of ownership, so I will still expect the A's to be like, I don't know, 4th or 5th, but that replacement would change just a little bit. Isn't Junis a reverse splits guy? Let me pull it up. No. He's got a 435 xFIP for his career against righties, 474 versus lefties. Yeah, he's relatively normal. Look, I'll like the A's whether Joyce plays or not, so let's just get that out of the way. What about Detroit Bats? Not a team that I'm on, really. I don't have much else to say. This is kind of an uneventful game, so we'll move on to the Pirates. Final game for the FanDuel slate. Pirates and Cardinals. Pirates, 3.8 run implied total. Cardinals, 4.4. It's a 56% chance to win for the Cards. Nick Kingham going for Pittsburgh. St. Louis has Michael Wacha. I like Wacha quite a bit. I honestly thought I would like him quite a bit more. We're projecting him at 12. I'll be a little higher there. I'm actually way under on Wacha on FanDuel, which is pretty surprising. I think once I start tweaking the ownerships, though, if I pull a little from Anibal Sanchez, pull a little bit from Matz, I think we can see Wacha climb just slightly. But I like him. On DK, he's a nice option. I think like a Wacha Suter combo would be nice. We'll take a look at it when I do crunches. I think you can conceivably do Lester and Wacha too, so we'll check that out when I finish up here. As for hitters, Starling Marte on FanDuel is crazy cheap, 3,100, projected to hit third. I'll have quite a bit of him as a one-off. I do like Kingham. I see that Lorenzo said he likes Kingham as well. I'll have him 8,200 on DK. I'll have some solid ownership there. I'll probably be double the field on Kingham. We're only projecting 7 right now. I'm not too worried about the Cardinals bats. They've been below average against righties for the season. Not a lot of pop. So, yeah, this is mostly just pitching, some one-off Starling Marte, maybe a little bit of Tommy Pham and Marcelo Ozuna. That's about it. It's an uneventful game. There's just way more interesting options. I think Waka has plenty of upside, Beto. I mean, Suter went 5, 5 2/3, 5 2/3, 5. His last 4 starts. I'm not thinking he's not going to go like, deep. What do I have him in here for? 5.8. Yeah, so if I have him in for 5 2/3, maybe I'll walk that back a little bit. I'll still own him a ton. Maybe that'll mute it a little bit. There's just not a lot to like in the Pirates-Cardinals game. Colton Wong, I guess, on FanDuel. Was a one-off second baseman. I can get behind something like that. But this one's for the DK peeps. Thanks to FanDuel for not including this in their morning slate. Assholes. 6-run implied total for the Dodgers. 5-run implied total for the Rockies. It's a 58% chance to win. Alex Wood going for LA. Chad Bettis going for Colorado. I'll end up with a little bit of Wood. I'm really proud of the way I said that. Let me take a sip of coffee. Let's get a slurp in. Yeah, I'll end up with some Wood. Yay. There's really no other way to say that, is there? I will have I will have Wood exposure today. Even those words make it funny. I like it a lot. Anyway, Dodgers. You can roster everyone. It doesn't matter what they do to their lineup. It doesn't matter who they put in or what order they put them in. I will have more Dodgers than anybody else today. They went ham yesterday. As you can see, I'm large amounts of everybody. I can't get enough. I don't have anybody that I'll single out as individual. But I touched on it a little bit in the Spotlight Hitters article. The most interesting part of the Dodgers is the multiple guys with dual eligibility. So Max Muncy, first and third. Bellinger, first and outfield. Chris Taylor, outfield and shortstop. Logan Forsythe, second and third. If you didn't see the article, you can have those 4 guys as a stack and then stack them again in 4 opposite positions. You could have that stack in 2 separate, way more than 2, but multiple ways of just those same 4 guys. It's so bizarre. It makes everything else fit in perfectly. And then when you get guys like Yasmani Grandal, who's one of the best catcher options on the slate, if not the best, individually, you end up with a Dodger stack that looks great from 1 to 8. Hell, I would stack Alex Wood as a hitter if I could in this damn lineup. That's how great the Dodgers look. I can't get enough here. I just want to have an absolute bundle of Dodgers. And I will, and the field will. I don't know how else to talk about it there. Yeah, I'm Dr. Pepper. I'm glad that Chris is in here for the Chubster joke as well. But at least chat is here to make fun of me. So that's fun. Anyway, yeah, Dodgers. The whole way. Rockies. They look great. I mean, they just don't look as good as the Dodgers. I've got the Rockies as my 4th most owned stack. They should be relatively popular, at least in the LeMahieu, Arenado, Trevor Story, Iannetta mold. That looks to be the most popular stack of the 4. And you'll see that I got quite a bit of LeMahieu, Arenado, Story, and Iannetta. But I like Desmond. I think that working in Blackmon or Cargo is fine. Cargo has one of the more extreme lefty-lefty splits in the league. It might even be the most extreme. So he's really bad against left-handed pitching. But But I'll still have him as part of a stack. The righty bats here, though, will be very, very popular. Ooh, Braves lineup is out. Let's check that out. Inciarte, Albies, Freeman, Markakis, Suzuki, Camargo, Tucker, Swanson. Don't even need to make a change. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, obviously Coors games are great to stack. You know, the Dodgers look like the better side of it. Rockies will be relatively popular. That's all. Spencer, here for the Chubster joke. May or may not have invented the nickname. Is that true? Do I have you to blame for this? I didn't remember who said it first, but thanks for that. It's really helpful. Daniel Ensley, what are some cheap bats you can fit in with Dodger stacks? Dodger's pretty expensive if I'm rolling with Lester and Suter. We'll get to that shortly when I take a look at crunches, but it'll be easy. Greg Massey, I have way too much wood. Should I walk it back? I assume we're being serious and that's not like some double entendre question. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have a lot there. 5-run implied total for the Rockies in a game in Coors. You can have too much today. We're only projecting 5% right now. So, I mean, like, I'll have 9. I don't want to have much, like, I wouldn't want much more than that. And honestly, I'm a little uncomfortable with 9. But Wood's got big-time stuff, so at least that can translate. White Sox all day. We're on different wavelengths with that one. Now I don't see that at all. I'll only have really Abreu, so good luck to you. Jason Foster, great job last night, Josh. Thank you. You can, in fact, have too much wood. This is. Let's look at some crunches, degenerates. Alrighty, DK crunches. So I know the big question is about the Dodgers bats, so let's take a look at that now. We'll go back to Daniel's question. So if I grab Lester and I grab Suter, I get 4 lines in my top 150 with a Dodgers stack of Grandal, Forsythe, Turner, Peterson, Bellinger with V-Mart, Trey Turner, and Curtis Granderson. You can do whatever you want, man. Like, Trey Turner is an expensive shortstop. You can fill in easily with this stack. Grandal, Muncy, Taylor, Peterson, Kemp with a Joyce, which might not happen. And then a small Brewer stack of Choi and VR. I think that looks tasty. You can easily do a Dodger stack. A 5-man Dodger stack with whatever else you want. It's not, like, it's really shockingly easy. If you wanted to do Lester and... let's just say Lester and Waka. Do I get any options there? No, I don't. No Lester, Waka. Next step down. Ingham, Suter. And I'd like to check out Lester Waka. But there's a lot of easy stackage out there today. But the Dodgers just make everything work. They're just going to be so popular. Okay, so I talked about this a little bit before, but let's do it again, and we'll use this as a full-on example. The Dodgers will be so chalky today. Are you scared of ownership? No. I'm never really scared about ownership for hitters, and I'll do the example again just so we can so we have a really good, like, full-on example. Let me add a tab here. Please don't freeze. Please don't freeze. I haven't saved in a while. Please don't freeze. Okay, good. I've done this example before, but this will work really well here. So, as a good proxy for, figuring out if you have a lineup that is chalky or not, you can do something like this. So I'll even use Lester and this this Dodgers stack as the example. So we'll have Lester, Matz, Grandal, Braun, Forsythe, Turner. That's not how you spell Turner. Not that it matters. Taylor. Nope, that's not how you spell that either. Inciarte, Rosario, Peterson. Now, Lester and Matt's projected ownership. We've got 39 and 22. Now we need Dodgers. So Grandal 22, Forsythe 18, Turner and Taylor. Turner 27, Taylor 20, Peterson 20. Now we need Braun at 13. Inciarte at 6. Rosario 7. Okay, so those are all of the projected lineups for, or all the projected ownerships for me today. So the odds of someone having this lineup would be all of these ownership rates multiplied together. So if I do 1 divided by the product of all of these, I get give me this. There we go. This lineup, just based on that, and there are correlations to worry about. So it's not the the easiest way to do this, but it gets you where you need to be. It's a 1 in 50 million lineup. So that's why chalk isn't as important. I have 5 guys in here from the Dodgers. They're a little bit more popular because of stacking, you can get to a lineup like this a little bit more often. But even if we said that instead of it being a 1 in 50 million lineup, let's just say it's a 1 in a million lineup. If you're playing a contest with 10,000 entries, you should not be expecting someone else to have this. That's why chalk's not that big of a deal. Just getting a 6% Inciarte and a 7% Rosario changes everything. If they were 25% owned a piece, it's still a 1 in 3 million lineup. Chalk is way different in baseball than it is in basketball. Because basketball, you could have all of these guys in like the 40s. Like, let's say that this was a basketball game and everybody was 40% owned. You'd be looking more at like a 1 in 9,500 lineup. Much more likely to have overlap. But in this case, I'd be shocked if someone ended up on this exact same lineup. It does not take much to differentiate. You could have the 5 most chalky guys at hitter on a stack. You could have the 2 most chalky pitchers. And if you just have like relatively lower owned guys in your other 2 spots, you're all gravy. Don't get hung up on the chalkiness of a particular line that you have. Now, you want to worry about being over or underexposed to certain guys, but this is the one you want. Like, you really just don't have to worry about it as much as people think. Let's see. Do you just stack 1 team? Because I usually stack 2 teams per lineup. So on this size slate, I'll only have 1 stack. It's less likely to nail 2 outlier performances on a size like this, or at least it has been in my experience. On a 15-game slate, I'll have a 2 and 2. But today, like on DK, it'll be a 5 with whatever else comes with it. Greg Massey, I was told there will be no math at 7 a.m. Well, that's good because I'm putting out this math at 10:30 a.m. So, you know. What did Big Al say? ESPN has a Twitch feed on Sunday mornings that he ends with prayers to the DFS gods. Well, as long as he didn't steal anything yet. I'm sure another website will just have some DFS church on Sunday next week. Max for SP2. Yes, absolutely. Josh, which do you have more success? Basketball or baseball? Previously to this year, full stop basketball. Baseball has been very, very good to me this year. And basketball is a bit of a struggle this season for the first time ever. So, there you go. What else do we got? Can I do a FanDuel crunch? Yeah, we're going to look at that next. Most people in the industry are a lot more superficial than that. Keep giving us the math. Yeah, I got to give you the math. That's what we're here for. If we weren't talking about more high-level concepts, we would just be another site. But that's why in the premium stuff, you get Alex's lineup cards or pitching percentages and stuff. I mean, nobody's putting that stuff out. That's good. Ooh, Tigers lineup. What do we got? Martin, Castellanos, Cabrera. Oh, no V-Mart. So, okay. Go ahead and update that. If you were relying on Victor Martinez today, it's not going to work. And I hope you're ready for... Is he in the lineup already? Hope you're ready for some Ronnie Rodriguez. Not quite familiar with him. Sneaky suspicion he's not going to show up. So let's check that out. Shocked. No Ronnie Rodriguez. Ronnie Rod. There you are. Welcome to the Tigers, champ. Ugh, tell me, are you in here? Rodriguez. You are. You're not in my master file. Ronnie R. Ronnie Rodriguez. I figured he was a prospect. Oh, 26. Yeah, he's not going to be a star for shit. If he were going to be a star, he'd, you know, be in the majors already. Righty. Boom. Add him to the player pool. Yeah, it doesn't really change anything for me for the Tigers other than yank my exposure to V-Mart out. Can you give us a summary of the best pitchers in this slate, cash and GPP perspective? Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to think that I like Clevenger in a GPP as a pay-up contrarian option. Let's see. I think from a cash perspective, you probably want to be on Lester and Clevenger. Well, maybe not Clevenger. Lester and, I don't know, Fulmer maybe, Suter, Kingham. On FanDuel, I mean, Lester's going to be probably your best option. I probably would stick to Lester and Clevenger on FanDuel. Where else we go? I struggle with MLB simply because I have no knowledge of the sport, teams, etc. I get that. I honestly don't think you need it. As weird as that sounds. Oh, I didn't mean to double click there. But I don't think you need that much knowledge. You just need to know the scoring and how to base it. But I could be thinking about that in the wrong way. Did I just close this? What a stupid, stupid person I am. Oh, God. I hope I saved that. What else do we got? Try golf if you haven't yet. Yeah, I'm not a big... I don't really mess with golf all that much. Although I'll start too soon, but got enough going on. There's enough sports to play. Polka, Abreu, Anderson, Shy Sox are drooling. I have no Polka and barely any Anderson or Abreu. Spencer Singleton, have you used Excel's solver to do lineups? I use that with my personal projections instead of paying for a service. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. It'll work. I've used it in other aspects. I don't use it for DFS, but yeah, I mean, that's essentially what the optimizer services are. I'm playing too many lineups for it to be feasible for me. How many pitchers are you going to roll and how many stacks? A lot. I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 probably different pitchers on DK. Similar to probably like 8 or 9 on FanDuel. I'll have, I don't know, probably like 8-ish full stacks of teams. Exposure to almost everyone else except for probably the Orioles and Yankees. Alrighty, let's look at some FanDuel crunches for the FanDuel peeps. Oh, 10:36 already. Cubs lineup is out. Yes, it is. Take a peeksy. I don't really like the Cubs, so this probably won't matter. Almora, Hayward hitting second. Oh, yeah? Was this 5 years ago? La Stella in. So who? Oh, Schwarber in, too. That'll make the Cubs a little bit more interesting. No, it won't. Lefty, lefty. That'll make it worse. Whoa, no Chris Bryant. That's a fucking weird day to not have Chris Bryant in the lineup. Yeah, so that's going to bring... I assume that line will move. That's going to make Lester less popular to me. We'll see what that does to the rest of the exposures, but I think that line will move closer to the Mets now with no Bryant. Okay, that's a good... let me touch on that quick, Beto. In the NBA, a guy could look good based on matchup, but you know from watching him that it's not a good play. Difficult to make those judgments with MLB for me. I personally don't think you have to. With the amount of data that's out there for baseball, I don't think you have to know anything. I don't think you have to watch baseball whatsoever. I rely on the data, full stop. I mean, obviously I watch baseball. I played it my entire life. So I understand the sport and what I see, but I mean, if you want to know if somebody's good or not, that data exists. It might not be there for like a brand new guy, but you know that data is out there. And the key takeaway is like even whatever you land on, you know, somebody could be just as likely to go 0 for 4 as they are to hit a dong. So it's weird. Each individual performance has an overwhelming amount of variance, but it's also the easiest sport to model because of data. It's just that the outputs have got really wide error bars. So I mean, I could not watch a baseball game for the rest of the season and churn this stuff out every day because I know what I'm looking at. Like, you can get there. I guess I could probably do something similar for any sport, and like I kind of do, but I mean, baseball in particular to me is the easiest one to rely on from a data standpoint. Like NBA, I kind of want to know how substitution patterns and how guys are coming into the game. I should probably give a home run pick, huh? I don't know if you guys remember from Friday. Chris had Olsen. He double donged, so he'll probably be squawking about that crap tomorrow on the live stream. I had Ryan Braun, who single donged, which, you know, I would have preferred to have the double dong. It's going to make me look worse. I don't want to give Chris any credit for anything, but yeah, he picked the double dong. We're going to have to change the color for that one. Yeah, Foxhole Atheist. It's not a fun sport to watch. Especially this day and age of like the, you know, tech culture. I see baseball changing to survive in the future. It's just so boring to me. And, you know, I'm a guy that I've loved baseball my entire life. FanDuel Crunch. Yeah, I don't want to leave anybody out. So this is going to have some dated information, but it'll be directionally accurate. Why the fuck is it only showing 139 lineups? Whatever. We'll crunch some new FanDuel lines. What time did I go live? How long has this been happening? 1 hour ago, at the very least. $9:28. Oh, cool. A little over an hour. Perfect. Yeah, Chris messaged Jake and I in our Slack chat. It was just like, I got a dong. I was like, yeah, great, whatever. And he was like, another dong. I was like, man, I didn't even get to like talk smack about Braun going yard yet, and all of a sudden you've got two. It's deflating. It's not great when Chris succeeds. Wesley Maxwell, what up, Josh? What up, Wesley? All right, here's 150 fresh lines of FanDuel with all the lineups updated. Okay, DK, you're being weird now. You don't show the lines, which might be intentional now that I'm starting to think about it, because the crunches have been cooking, bouncing all over the place. I don't know. Yankee game canceled officially? Yes, it is. Okay, cool. I mean, I've been ignoring it. Yeah, I'm with you there, Siege. Chris seems like a humble winner, am I right? None of us are humble to each other. We brag as if we have figured out the cure for cancer and not just pick some random asshole to hit a home run. So, yeah. If you want to know how humble we are, go listen to the Lonely Island I'm So Humble track. That's basically us. Chris is like my brother from another mother now. We have overlapping thoughts that honestly scare me. All right, so FanDuel Crunch. Actually, let me update the Yankees game so that I guarantee myself none of it. All right, so if I were picking like a single entry tournament, let's get all of our ranking or our ownership projections in here again for any updates we've had. I gotta change fucking Junis' stupid name again. God, I gotta fix some of this stuff. Not enough time in the day, people. Drew N in the house. All right, so if I were going to be playing a one-off, like a single entry line in a FanDuel GPP, I would probably be looking at not Lester. So probably Clevenger. I think that would be the direction I would want to go. So let me grab Clevenger, and we'll look at what I would say would be my favorite Clevenger FanDuel line. I mean, right away, I love this first one that's popping up. 4-man stack of Braun, Shaw, VR, and Choi. A 2-man Turner Soto stack for the Nats. Love it. And then one-off option of Leonis Martin and Inciarte. So that's a really nice lineup to me. If you want to do one that's sort of comparable, Clevenger with a Braves stack, Rendon and Turner with a 2-man VR and Braun stack as well. I think both of those look really nice, but I think Clevenger would be an interesting option for a single entry GPP. And it looks like more often than not, you can get a full Brewer stack to that. The lack of the Dodgers on FanDuel is very apparent. But very easy to make lines you like. I'm obviously super high on Juan Soto, but rotate out any other $3,000 outfielders accordingly. And get to Marte at 3,100, another guy that'll be really popular for me. Missed the show. Who's your 1 through 5 stacks? Check out the Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article at awesemo.com. I've outlined 3 teams: Dodgers, Brewers, and Nats. They'll be my 3 most popular teams of the day. Braves and A's look pretty good on FanDuel as well. Alrighty, Mets lineup out. Another one where I don't give a shit who it is. Nimmo, Bautista, Bruce, Lewecki. Alright, gotta change it. Mets. Let's pop that one in there. Yeah, I don't expect to get to the Mets one way or the other, so I'm not really stressing it. I won't get to any Mets. So, that's fine by me. Greg Massey, watch for Keats to make the Milwaukee lineup. Do I have him in now? Don't. I mean, it's not going to matter who's in the Milwaukee lineup. I'll be playing everybody, so I'll take it. Any other questions, people? Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here. I've got a lot to do today. I'm going to have a Playline article coming up in the next hour or so, taking a look at stat correlations. We're going to have a video component to our MLB game plan article where I take a walk through that and then touch on how best to use our rankings. So keep an eye out for that. We're working on some other things behind the scenes that I think people will enjoy. So Get ready, people. More and more stuff coming. So you like Wheeler a lot on DK. Bats look so much nicer with him than Suter. Wheeler? What am I missing there? Do you mean Mats? Would I stack the whole Twins-Indians game? No. No, I would not. That would be a very contrarian lineup. I don't have much to talk about for game 2. I think the Warriors stomped the Cavs. I think this series is over. So, that's all I got. I do like Mats quite a bit, though. And those Cubs changes are probably only going to make that more. Oakland didn't hit versus Hamill. Why would they hit versus Junis? Because it's a different day. Come on, Drew N. Don't bring that garbage. What's your Twitter handle, bud? At Josh Engelman. I'm really creative with my stuff. Josh Engelman on FanDuel. Josh Engelman on Instagram. Josh Engelman on FanDuel. Josh Engelman on DK. If you see Josh Engelman, that's me. And that's me fucking everywhere. Why, when I see one of you guys at the top of a tourney, I see all of you? Meaning pros, do you guys share info? I do not share any info. I think that you see that a lot because we all have similar thought process and styles. Like, my personal projections are fully independent of our site's ranking system. So Alex's personal stuff. They line up quite a bit to the point where I end up having very similar lines. There was a day, probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where myself, Alex, and Tom all had the exact same line in a FanDuel GPP. And it's because like we all had similar endpoints. We had similar strategies. But now I would love to get more one-on-one time with Alex, but I mean, dude's busy grinding out some scratch. So I think it's just, it congregates around the same point when you use similar data. I mean, I literally barely talk to anyone else in this industry. The conversations that I have with like Chris and Jake are the extent of it. Yeah, that Pistons team is a little different than the Cavs team. What else we got? Does anyone else love Mats? I think everybody. I hope everybody. I think he looks great. At that price point, at least. White Sox lineup is out. Yeah, that's not going to be super relevant for me either. I'm just glad that Yankees game is 100% postponed now. But it would have been cool if it wasn't, actually, since I was already avoiding it. Would it kill a couple more lines? Yeah, I think that's it, everybody. Yeah, I won't really be on the White Sox, so Anderson, Sanchez, Abreu, Rondon, no Palka. Okay. All right, everybody. That is going to be it for me. Best of luck today, and we'll be back. Jake and I will be back in the morning tomorrow. Then Chris and I on the live stream at night. So have a great Sunday, everybody. I'll talk to you guys later.